Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to an Orange Ranger Videos State of the Channel. This is the third such video that I've made for this channel, and funny enough, each of the three were made for different reasons. The first one that I did because I felt like that's just something that content creators should do every so often. The second is because I wasn't in a really good place mentally or emotionally. I felt like the channel was lagging and I was wondering what I could do about that. Sadly enough, this third video is far closer to the latter than the former. The current state of Orange Ranger Videos is this. Account status: currently ineligible for monetization. Your channel does not comply with the YouTube Partner Program terms. Here's why your channel is out of compliance. Reused content. In most cases, you can't re-upload someone else's content unless you get permission first. Remember, it's not enough to credit the content owner or state that no copyright infringement is intended.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa!
You maniacs! You blew it up!
Everybody betrayed me. I fed up with this world.
And yes, I do realize the irony of using that in response to this, seeing as all four of those are copyrighted works themselves, but that's going to be part of what we're talking about. I received that notice from YouTube in an email on Monday, January 14th, and what it means is that my channel is no longer monetized. Orange Ranger Videos is not currently a YouTube partner. YouTube is not running ads on my videos, and I am not making a single cent for any of the content that I have produced. The reasoning for this, as you saw, is that I use copyrighted content in my videos. Mainly my screen caps of episodes of Power Rangers, though lately I've also been using snippets of movies, TV shows, songs, etc. for little cutaway gags. This is apparently no longer a matter of just allowing companies to claim specific videos for monetization for use of their copyrighted content. It's an all or none process where using any of that content means a channel is not eligible to be monetized. I'll be talking about why that is a little later in the video. That demonetization page also includes a link to a YouTube FAQ on fair use, which was itself a little bit surprising since I wasn't sure that YouTube knew the definition of fair use. It's very careful about legal disclaimers. Fair use can only truly be determined by a judge. There's no magic phrase that you can put in a video or in the video's info that gives you the protection of fair use. And commercialized use of commercialized content is far less likely to be determined fair use. But even then, they have to include things like it's less likely to be fair use, and it is possible for a video to be monetized and still be fair use. So basically, in this FAQ, YouTube fully admits that it is entirely the decision of a judge what is or is not fair use, but puts the onus on lawyering up on the independent content creators rather than the big copyright holders that, you know, can actually afford the lawyers. As I hinted at before, you might be wondering what's changed. I've spoken about lost revenue on the channel before, but it would only ever apply to a single video. For example, I just recently had to repost my top 10 Saban Brands era Power Rangers because I used a 7-second clip of Just a Gigolo and WMG claimed it. That was just lost revenue from one video though, not an entire channel. Now this is all speculation on my part, although I do think it's educated speculation, if you will, based on what's been going on. But what has changed is the recent passage of Articles 11 and 13 in the European Union. This is a whole set of kind of content governing laws, but what's important within them is that they require hosting sites to now be legally responsible for preventing their users from posting unlicensed copyrighted content. They haven't become law yet. It's a complicated process to actually get them passed into law. And you may even be wondering why European laws would affect my American channel. You may have noticed as you've been browsing the web in the past 6 months to a year that a lot more websites are throwing up these pop-ups talking about things like their privacy policies and their cookies and etc., etc. That is due to a European law as well, the General Data Protection Regulation. If a company operates in Europe, it has to abide by European laws. And often it's just too much stress, too much of a headache for an international web company to break their websites up into these basically country partitioned versions that can abide by the laws of those particular nations. It's usually far easier to just pick the stricter policy and apply that site-wide. And that's what's happening here. United States copyright laws are not as strict as these articles are going to be, but YouTube operates in Europe, so they're falling in line. As I told people when I got this notice initially, I was shocked but not surprised, if that makes sense. I've been seeing other channels saying on Twitter that they've gotten this notice as well, even other TokuTubers, and I kind of felt like it was just a matter of time, sadly. Basically, I think any YouTube channel that has gotten a Content ID claim, has a video that has a Content ID or a copyright strike on it, will be demonetized sooner rather than later. However, I said that this was a third State of the Channel video, not a second Where's the Fair Use video. YouTube does offer the option to reapply for monetization after 30 days, but only after completely scrubbing your channel of whatever it was that got it flagged for demonetization in the first place. Take a second to think about how many of my Power Ranger reviews use screen caps, how many of my more recent videos use cutaway gags that are copyrighted content themselves.
That's a lot of fish.
Cleaning this channel up for monetization would basically gut it, and I'm not willing to do that. And you know what else? I don't want to. No, I don't want to change the way I do things.
We will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight.
Never give up! Never give up! Yeah!
Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
German? Forget it, he's rolling.
I stand firmly by what I do and the value in doing it. My reviews do no legitimate harm to a show like Power Rangers, and any harm that is done is definitely not from me shrinking down a full piece of video into a smaller still frame in order to generate a point. If anything in my reviews does hurt a show like Power Rangers, it's stuff like telling people what hot burning garbage Ninja Steel was, and you can't block that with a copyright claim. You folks might remember that around the end of the Hyperforce reviews, I had a bit of a stretch where I stopped using screen caps or even logos from the show due to frustration with the Content ID system. But just a short time later, I went right back to using them. Do you know why? Because I hate not using screen caps. Yes, it makes a little more work for me in editing my reviews, but I just think it's the best way for me to demonstrate things that I'm talking about, and it also gives you something else to look at, so you're not just staring at me talking for 30 minutes. So, where does this leave me? Well, the way I see it, I've got 3 choices. The first would be to start a brand new channel, and I will admit that's actually something I've thought of off and on in the past year or so, just due to some complications with some of the earliest videos on this channel being entirely copyrighted content and how much easier it might be to monetize and find options for that. But anyway, the idea would be starting a brand new channel and grinding my way back up to YouTube's monetization requirements while not using a single piece of copyrighted content.
It's gotta be no, dog.
Option number 2 would be just giving up. Just accepting that YouTube will not allow me to operate this channel the way that I want to and have it monetized, giving me any sort of compensation for my work, and just finding something else to do with my time.
That will be the day.
So I guess in the end, there really aren't 3 options, are there? There's just one.
Start a page and give your fans the opportunity to become patrons. It could help you do the best work of your life.
Yes, I know, there are some of you heroes that have been after me for literal years to start a Patreon. It's just something that I've been really nervous about, wringing my hands and going with less serious funding options such as Ko-fi or digital tip jar, because I knew that I was a YouTube partner, and that's good enough, right? Well, one, no, it actually wasn't, but I'll talk about that in just a bit, and two, that's not a thing anymore, so yeah, it's time to do this. Now in the past, especially the past year or so, I've said that I was going to do this. I would think about it, put together a list of ideas, and at a later date, get back to you with when that was going to happen. And then I would put it off some more, think about it, rework the list of ideas, I'll let you know, think about it, put in more, get
on with it!
March 1st. I will launch my Patreon by March 1st, 2019. And if I don't, I will have a completely legitimate reason. Now, I'm not saying that something like, oh, I need a little more time to think about it. I'm talking about something like, all of the internet lines to our house got hit by lightning and I don't have internet access right now. Something crazy but legitimate like that. In the meantime, I'm not going to stop doing this. I can't. Obviously, it's never been about the money, and this is what I was hinting that I was going to get into because I'm about to get real with you folks. I have been reviewing episodes of Power Rangers on YouTube for 5 years as of next month. Woo, 5-year anniversary celebrations. I don't know, I have to think about that. In that amount of time, I have only truly made $100. That is the minimum amount that YouTube will cut a check for from ad revenue, and I've only ever gotten one check. I actually took a look at it just before I made this video, and I was sitting just $11 short of getting a second check. That's right, in 5 years of doing YouTube, I have made all of $189. When I started doing this, it wasn't because of the monetization. I'm not even sure that I was partnered at the time. It was just that I was seeing other reviewers on YouTube talking about Power Rangers, and I felt like I had something to contribute to that conversation. I sought to blend the super analytical style of Linkara's History of Power Rangers with Black Nerd Comedy's method of reviewing a single episode at a time, and work in their comedy stylings and aspects of them and other channels like Game Grumps, Angry Joe, Chugga Conroy, MMPR Toys, Jim Sterling, Yahtzee Zero Punctuation, and etc, etc, etc. I feel over these 5 years that I have crafted my own specific style, and as Power Rangers goes on, I feel that it's still worthwhile to apply that style and my opinions to the current product, and even to expand that to other things beyond Power Rangers, other franchises, other forms of media, etc. But that's just why I started. That's not the only thing that keeps me going now. One of the main things that keeps me going now is the people. It's the people I met at Power Morphicon who recognized me on site and were so happy to see me and tell me that they never miss a single video. I'm really sorry that you're having to watch a video like this, but I still appreciate that. It's the family who told me that their son gathers them together every time I post a video. Me, who am I? It's the young British man who said that he really admires me and other people that do the things that I do. It's collaborating with people like Ranger Liz, Sapphire Steffi. It's finding out from the people that are responsible for creating and keeping this franchise going now that they admire and appreciate my work. That is why, despite even this, I go on. Patreon will be added to the mix to support and hopefully enhance the work, but the work is not going to stop regardless. And being realistic for a second, that's kind of the main revelation that finally kicked me in the butt enough to go ahead and put my Patreon together. I've always been kind of nervous that the Patreon won't be very well supported, and that'll be something that's disappointing to me. I was making $38 a year as a YouTube partner. That's a really low threshold to beat. Logistical note, this does mean that my channel will no longer have access to end screens, though I'm still going to be organizing my videos into playlists like I always have, so I don't really feel like that's a huge loss. And as I begin to bring this video to a close, I want to assure you all that it is not going to cost a single penny in order to watch my regular videos. I may incorporate some special perks in for Patreon. As a matter of fact, that's something that's kind of important to me. If you're supporting my channel financially, I would like you to benefit from it over the free level, if you will, in some way. early access to videos, special chats and Q&As, votes for, and even slots to directly decide topics for things like hiatus videos, etc. But overall, I'll be producing the same amount of general content that I always have, and that content is always going to be completely free to watch. I may make the exclusive Patreon video every now and then. However, it's going to only be every so often if that happens, and it'll be above and beyond my regular content instead of replacing it. Regular stuff on Orange Ranger videos will stay free, I promise. And please, please, I am absolutely begging you all, do not feel bad if you cannot lend any financial support to the channel. I know what it's like to not have a lot of money. Trust me. There are probably like at least 10 or so people on Patreon that I'd love to be supporting right now, and I just don't have the funds for it. If you don't have the funds to contribute to the channel financially in a way like Patreon, I just have two requests. One, if you happen to find yourself with a sudden $5 that your grandma gave you for your birthday or something, and there's absolutely nothing you can think of that you would want to spend it on, buy me a coffee. Throw that in my digital tip jar. I always appreciate those sudden little tips. Those are always really nice. And two, beyond that, just share the channel. Just let people know about it. Every time you share one of my videos on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc., there's a chance it'll reach somebody that will really love my content and has the funds to support me on something like Patreon. And their support will be directly because of you. Well, that's going to just about wrap this up. I guess I never actually gave you the state of the channel, besides saying that it's been demonetized. So I will say that the state of Orange Ranger videos right now is in flux. Things are changing. I'm figuring out new ways of doing things, so stay tuned on that. That's going to do it for this Orange Ranger video State of the Channel video. Thank you, heroes, so much as always for watching. Those of you who have been around since the beginning, thank you so much for sticking with me, being supportive, positive comments. Any of you that have made even the smallest financial contribution, thank you so much for that. And just being a great fan base. I've always said that I feel like I have one of the best, most positive fan bases on TokuTube. So thank you guys so much for that. Hopefully this isn't your first video. Hopefully it's your second video. But if you are new to the channel, you know, thanks for stopping by. Hopefully you enjoy my content. It's not just talking about YouTube and their sometimes unfair feeling business practices. On the day that I am filming this very video, I'm also filming 2 comic reviews and a Saban Brands Top 10 video. So as I said, the work will go on. Therefore, make sure you're subscribed to the channel to see all of my videos and ring the bell so you get notified of when those videos are posted. In the comments below, I mean, I know a lot of you are going to complain about YouTube, and that's fair and that's fine, and I'll probably commiserate. The main thing I would ask in the comments is suggestions for Patreon. What are some perks? What would make it more likely, if you're able to, that you would support a Patreon? What kind of perks do you look for in a channel that's on Patreon that makes you want to support it? I know a lot of you have said you just want to support making my content. Appreciate the credit out of that, but if you're giving to me financially, I want to directly give back. So just in the comments below, Patreon suggestions, perks, things that I can do that would make it more likely for you and people you know to provide support. And while you're down there, make sure you mash that thumbs up button. Let me know that you like this video and that you like my channel. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, while my Patreon is not set up yet, there are 2 ways that you can lend financial support to the channel. One would be digitaltipjar.com/OrangeRangerVid, where you can donate any amount that you would like. The other is ko-fi/OrangeRangerVideos. Those are coffees that are set at $3 a piece. You can get me as many of those as you would like, but 1 is fine. And if you want to donate less than $3, you can just head on over to Digital Tip Jar. Thank you folks for being there. I really appreciate it. And until next time, because there is a next time, may the power protect you. It's less likely for a video to be monetized and determined to be fair use. What? And you might even be wondering why European laws, well, yeah, damn it. A lot more websites have been throwing up pop-up. At a later time, I'll let you guys know when the date for that's going to start. I said guys. Game Grumps, Angry Joe, Chugga Conroy, MMPR Toys, Jim Sterling, Yahtzee. When I started doing this, it wasn't about the monetization. I don't even think I was a YouTube partner at the time, although I may have been, I don't know. That is why, despite even this, as well as my other comment, dag nabbit, simple word, screwed it up.